Alright, hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between what I will call Rice versus F91 here on Metalopolis. If you didn't see these games in order, Rice is actually like glutinous rice dumpling, or lo mai bao, or not 100%, yeah, or lo mai gao, lo mai gai, no, lo mai gao. Could be lo my god. Anyways, back to the game. We have Rice spawning as the red Protoss player over here at the 8 o'clock position. Meanwhile, F91 spawning as the blue Zerg. Yeah, me, I'm trying to practice my Chinese, my Cantonese. Not really working out. Anyways, the Zerg player over here, F91, now scouting with this Overlord, will quickly be able to see that it is not going to be close air spawning locations, and will have to eventually scout out with a drone. Meanwhile, we see a probe on the way out. We'll be scouting in the clockwise direction. I do not believe the probe will actually walk up the ramp enough to actually be viewable. It's just going to see the creep, not see any creep, and then move along its merry way. Meanwhile, the Overlord, now going to come in from this direction, will not see this probe in time, and the probe, however, will be able to do some scouting in just a moment. Now, I believe F91, if the previous games are any indication, should be opening up with a 14 spawning pool. He could try to change it up a little bit and go for a 14 hatch instead. It would be relatively safe as it is cross spawn locations. And now the probe just wandering around over here, going to be able to make it up the ramp, and now quickly sees that the spawning pool has gone down. May see an extractor go down as well, as F91 really wants to get that metabolic boost on those Zerglings, enabling him to be able to flank many of those zealots and those stalkers. Back over here, we see a gateway being built on the front ramp, most likely followed by a cybernetics core. Will train up one zealot to hold off that position there, as an Overlord still wandering around the center of the map, and now a drone will be able to get inside this base. Back over here, you see a probe just sitting at the natural expansion. Perhaps it will try to warp in a pylon. Oh, and the drone able to steal some minerals, stopping some mining from the probe, and really nice micro there. He was chomping on those minerals for quite some time and delaying it. Is he going to do it again? Oh, yes, he is going to. No, he did try to chomp on those minerals, but the probe now doing some harassment instead. Back over here, a probe trying to wander away from that drone. The drone is getting a couple of easy hits onto that probe. The probe already down to 10 hit points there, and now will be forced to back off as the hatchery is currently getting placed down. Drone still wandering around a little bit further, looking to grab more minerals. Does see double gas though. So double gas will be a very important scouting tool for the F91 Zerg player. He knows that there is double gas, knows that there are either two options. There could be gateway with a lot of zealots and sentries into an expansion, or he could go for perhaps a robotics facility, or even a Stargate for Void Rays. Currently a queen, now spawning larva, currently only running off of one gas so far, as this hatchery down over here about halfway completed. And now one Zergling chasing after the probe. The probe is taking a fair amount of damage and still wandering around a little bit more. The probe wants to do some last minute scouting, no, deciding not to, as the Zergling wants to start pecking away at those shields. The Zergling does move a little bit faster, so will be able to attack, but I believe the probe will be able to start regenerating some of those shields just enough and then get pecked again. No, deciding to back off, as those shields will be able to regenerate back up to 20 shield points. One Zergling now wandering around, wants to make sure that there is not a proxy pylon in this location, trying to run away, and now in comes that Stalker, however, getting two quick hits onto that Zergling, and down it goes. Back over here, one Zergling activating this Zelnaga watchtower, as drones now being transferred over, in addition to a queen. So the queen perhaps will be able to get some spawn larva off as well, or even a creep tumor. That the creep tumor needs to be laid down in order to allow more mobility on this queen. Those stalkers would be able to kite many of those units, and now we see a probe coming back over, should be getting a nexus in just a moment. So it is going to be a 3-gate into a nexus, so we may have a 6-gate play in coming in just a moment. The warp gate research has already been completed. You can take a look at the number of probes. That is a fair number of probes coming in. Decent number, currently sitting on 25 harvesters. Meanwhile, back over here, we're currently sitting on 29 for the Zerg player, 31, excuse me, as he is power droning and also getting a decent number of Zerglings as well. So continuing to just macro up, get a strong economy, and then perhaps push out and deal damage. 3 drones currently being trained up still. Nexus about halfway completed, as a 4th gateway will finish warping in just a moment. No, now 5 gates. So this is I believe, RiceDumpling's 5-gate push. I have seen this before, I believe, on another map. Not going to say which one it is. I don't want to give anything away, as Zergling's now trying to test the waters, unable to get any real damage in, and now a lot of sentries coming in. So all these sentries are being warped in relatively early, just so that the sentries have a lot of energy. Once they get that large amount of energy, and once they're just in play for a while, they'll have a lot of energy, and then warp in probably a lot of zealots and stalkers as well to try to balance out the rest of that army. So multiple gateways currently not on cooldown, could be warping in more units as well. I'm not quite sure why he's not, as now 2 gateways will be completed in just a second. And now in this group there should be a probe, or is there, no, a probe already down over here, and maybe setting up a proxy pylon. Not quite sure how that probe was able to make it past these 2 Zerglings. And now 1 pylon being warped in on the low ground, and may try to warp in another pylon perhaps, up here on the high ground. So both very, very much out of line of sight unless you're on the high ground. And now in comes this another pylon here. So it looks like it is going to be a 5-gate rush running off of 16 mineral patches. This will be a very, very strong economy, 37 harvesters, and now as long as he doesn't, I don't think he's going to train any more probes after a while, and then just be able to deal a lot of damage. Stalkers quickly coming in, finishing off many of those Zerglings, and now the army size is simply a lot for for F91 to deal with. Quickly taking out that 1 statue, not quite sure why. And now going into a push here. We see Roaches now trying to move in. The Roaches, however, quickly getting blocked by those force fields, and now more force fields coming in. So very, very well protected in this pocket, making it so that only Roaches coming in from this side will be able to deal any damage. Zergling's finally able to break through, but enough damage has been dealt already to soften up that army. 1 Stalker may get taken down. No, 1 Stalker down to about, like, what, 5 hit points, and still now regenerating shields. Burrow has been researched, so that will help keep a lot of this army alive as long as they try to play whack-a-mole. A Queen currently in play, and that Queen, however, gonna get focused down relatively quickly. Drones pulling off the mineral line, and this is such an effective push coming in from Rice. Rice doing such a great job. Roach is trying to deal more damage, but so many force fields. And wow, those force fields are absolutely brutal right now, as the pocket just so well protected, having all the time in the world to decide what to do, to look around and choose and pick its targets. The sentries are now starting to get picked off 1 by 1, but the sheer number of stalkers now may be too much. 11 stalkers this early in the game, triple the army size. Zergling's now trying to come out once again, trying to pick their way through some of these stalkers. We should be getting, we are at tier 2, but I do not see any burrow tunneling claws, and I believe this is going to be game. Taking a look at the harvester count, 48 to 33. Yes, that is game. RiceDumpling just making Protoss look so easy. And yeah, just so easy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. F91 forced to give the GG here on Metalopolis, losing game 3 in this best of 3 series. Trying to figure out what exactly the Zerg player could have done in order to scout this out. At no time did F91 really see the strategy that RiceDumpling was going for. He never scouted out these 5 gateways. He does have an Overlord here, but the Overlord never tried to suicide and try to get some sight. And as soon as if he saw these massive numbers of gateways, he could have thrown down 3 or 4 spine crawlers, and those spine crawlers would have acted as a first line of defense with that range of 7, dealing a lot of damage. Force fields when they're placed down doesn't really hurt them too much, as they are able to outrange stalkers. Also, force fields may end up stopping zealots from dealing any damage. Yeah, but just really, really poor scouting coming from F91, and RiceDumpling, or glutinous RiceDumpling, was able to take this game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed game 3 in this best of 3 series. I do realize that all 3 of these games that I cast today were relatively short, so I will be casting more games just to make up for it. Recently I've been reading a lot of comments about how I somehow make people's work days go by faster, and I know none of my listeners would dare to watch this at work, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, stay tuned for additional games. Don't quite know who they are between yet. I believe it's a Shout versus I don't remember. So it's gonna be Shao T versus I don't remember. So yeah, stay tuned for those.